Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring an absolute masterpiece of spiritual science. And right up front, I want to explicitly state this content is based on the original Hindi literature by Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya ji, specifically the book Hamari Vasiyat or Virasat. What we're looking at here is a deeply verified lived experience. It's an incredible journey of absolute self-discipline, profound guru devotion, and ultimate spiritual awakening. So let's open up this divine scroll, so to speak, and see what this legacy is all about.
To really wrap our heads around this 60-year lived experience, we're going to follow the four main pillars of his spiritual journey. First up, the divine spiritual awakening. Then, the true guru-disciple bond. After that, we'll look at the 24 years of penance. And finally, the call of the Himalayas. These four pillars will reveal exactly how an ordinary life is forged into a completely extraordinary divine instrument. So, Pillar 1, the divine spiritual awakening. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it totally dispels the illusion of miracles. You know, society today is incredibly hungry for cheap magic tricks, right? People constantly want quick boons and overnight success. But true spirituality, it's an exact science. It is absolutely not a parlor trick. It actually demands an awakening rooted in profound, unwavering discipline.
There's this stark contrast we have to talk about between the illusion of miracles and the actual path of penance. When people chase these shortcuts and, predictably, those so-called miracles fail to materialize, what happens? Well, they naturally lose faith. They get completely frustrated. But the author's life is literally an open book that proves systematic, long-term spiritual practice yields definite, scientifically reproducible results. Shortcuts just breed frustration, but authentic practice builds a beacon of light.
And we see that the seeds of this divine mission were planted really early on. At just 8 years old, he received the Gayatri initiation from Mahamana Malviya, who actually called the mantra a Brahmin's Kamadhenu, basically a divine, wish-fulfilling cow of righteous duties. He practiced this relentlessly, every single day, waking up in the profound stillness of the Brahma Muhurta, those sacred early morning hours just before dawn. And he kept up this rigorous discipline right up until a massive turning point hit at age 15 during the Vasant Parva or Spring Festival.
During that sacred early morning hour, his room suddenly filled with this brilliant mass of light, a prakash punj. And from this radiant energy, the subtle body of a yogi emerged. The master spoke this incredible core statement: "I have been connected with you for many past lives, guiding you. Now, I have come to guide you further." Placed into a state of wakeful trance, Jagrat Samadhi, where the physical eyes are open but the soul sees way beyond time, he was actually shown his past 3 lives. You can imagine, his initial fear instantly dissolved into pure awe. That brings us to our second pillar, the true guru-disciple bond, and specifically, the search for the Satpatra. Now, you have to understand, this isn't your everyday transactional relationship, not at all. This is about absolute surrender. It's an ancient dynamic that is incredibly rare to witness in our modern world. You see, perfected masters don't just hand out divine cosmic energy to anyone who happens to ask. They actually spend lifetimes searching for a Satpatra, a truly deserving disciple, because divine grace literally requires a vessel strong enough to hold it. The individual has to have refined their character, their thoughts, and their everyday behavior to such an extreme degree that they could handle the massive voltage of the spiritual energy without shattering. It's an immense spiritual responsibility. Which leads us to a fascinating question. It totally challenges what most of us assume. We always hear these stories about disciples climbing freezing mountains to search for gurus, right? But why does a perfected master, a Siddha Purush, actively seek out a disciple? I mean, really think about that for a second. The master is the one crossing the boundaries of the subtle world to find a worthy student. Why? So the crucial point is this. Subtle bodies cannot perform gross physical tasks. They need a physical medium as an instrument for world welfare. It makes total sense when you think about it. Perfected masters who exist as pure light can't physically build institutions or navigate through dense physical matter. They absolutely require a physical instrument, a highly refined human being, to act as their seen hands, anchoring their divine intention to actually uplift humanity during really dangerous times.
And that moves us right into Pillar 3, 24 years of penance, the crucible of transformation. Because, as you can guess, becoming that physical instrument requires absolutely unimaginable discipline. We're talking about a scale of tapasya that is almost incomprehensible to us in the modern age. Great power demands an equally great sacrifice. 24 years. Just let that sink in. For 24 unbroken years, he completed the Gayatri Sadhana. For over 2 decades, his diet consisted entirely of barley bread and buttermilk, jao ki roti and chach. And alongside this extreme dietary discipline, he maintained an unbroken Akanj Jyoti. He kept a physical ghee flame alive continuously for 24 years. It was a physical mirror reflecting his intensely burning internal spiritual fire. Decades of relentless focus on a single divine command. But honestly, here is the most remarkable part. His guru commanded him to execute this intense tapasya while simultaneously serving actively as a freedom fighter for India's independence. That just completely reframes things, doesn't it? True spirituality embraces worldly duty. It never runs from it. He didn't just escape to a Himalayan cave to meditate away from society's struggles. No, he fought on the front lines for his country while maintaining the absolute highest level of internal penance. And through all those 24 years of severe hardship, his mindset was absolute. He stated clearly, nothing to say from my side, nothing to desire, just following the command with my life. This is true surrender. There was literally zero doubt, no questioning the guru's logic, absolutely no personal ambition. He gave up every single ounce of personal desire for the greater mission, showing us all what complete, unwavering spiritual courage truly looks like. Let's move to the final chapter and see how this builds up. The call of the Himalayas, stepping into the subtle realm. Once his foundational penance was finally complete, his guru summoned him to the absolute isolation of the Himalayan peaks. This happened on 4 separate occasions, sometimes for up to a whole year at a time. It was the ultimate testing ground.
So why the Himalayas? Well, the guru designed 3 very distinct tests to prepare his physical body for subtle work. First, he had to endure absolute, freezing isolation without feeling even a single ounce of human loneliness. Second, he had to cultivate such a deep, profound inner peace that wild, predatory animals would feel completely at harmony in his presence. And third, he had to directly witness and integrate with the energetic centers of the ancient rishis. Nature really is the ultimate examiner of the soul.
This intense Himalayan training was absolutely necessary to transition his awareness from the Sthula Sharir, the physical body, over to the Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body. Think about it. The physical form is heavily limited, right? It feels cold, it gets hungry, it feels fatigue, and it's bound by physical geography. But the subtle body? The subtle body can travel instantly, it can communicate to thousands simultaneously, and it works entirely without fatigue. This is exactly why masters eventually shed physical limits so they can embrace boundless cosmic responsibilities.
During this time, the master made this truly beautiful promise. We will stay together. We will make your physical state like the subtle body. It's the ultimate convergence, the physical disciple and the subtle master becoming one. By refining the physical form to its absolute peak, through extreme penance, it literally becomes a seamless, perfectly tuned instrument for divine will. It's a partnership of eternal significance. So, what does this all mean? What is the ultimate legacy we can draw from this explainer today? Well, first, spirituality is an exact, measurable science rooted in intense effort. It's not a search for random miracles. Second, being a true disciple requires immense, lifelong character building to become a true Satpatra. Third, divine entities are actively seeking worthy vessels. Remember, the unseen world needs seen hands. And finally, absolute surrender, combined with ironclad discipline, is the ultimate key to unlocking absolute cosmic potential. It is a 60-year testament to the power of dedicated penance.
And this brilliantly illustrates one final, deeply provocative question we all need to ask ourselves. Is your spiritual practice merely a search for miracles, or is it a lifelong commitment to transformation? The legacy of Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya ji and Hamari Vasiyat Ar Virasat is written as an open book for all of humanity. It shows us exactly what's possible when a soul dedicates itself fully. Thank you so much for exploring this profound science with me today. Let this question guide your journey forward.